Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me, everybody, while I'm just getting the messages sent out to all the leagues that I'm currently in to make sure that we get plenty of people joining in with today's stream. But for those of you that are just tuning in, hello and welcome to today's stream as part of the Colossus League. Today's game we will be seeing Rent Free take on the Xenji team. I believe I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, somebody do please correct me. Anyway, I believe we have everybody in the lobby. Perfect. We are ready to rock and roll with this one. So into it nice and quick for you, ladies and gentlemen, this evening who have joined me. How's everybody doing on this fine evening? And how's everybody's start of the week been? Game 1 win goes to Xenji team. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, while I just get everything up and running. Or Rent Free wins. There we go. Let's give you 20 minutes to start your predictions. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I've popped a predictions up and running for you guys, so you can go and drop your channel points that all of you lovely people have earned on which team you think will be taking this one, taking the victory or taking the defeat. Either way, or will we see a draw? Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, only one team can come away with the win on this very first map. So, like I say, get those channel points spent exactly where you want them. Now, bear with me 1 second. There we go. So, the first... Oh, wow, Maz. Oh, wow, Maz. A little bit cheeky there, just deleting Connor's messages. Anyway, good to see both of you in the chat today. How are you both doing? Perfect. So, yes, how is everybody doing today? Hopefully all good. Hopefully everybody's had a nice start to the beginning of their week. Mine's certainly been a little bit arduous and a little bit long, but hey-ho. Apologies if I'm also a little bit throaty today. Certainly as we get later on into this one. But we'll see how things go. Could you show the teams, please? There you go. So on the blue team, starting off on the attack, we have a Xenji team with Shramanak, Yokai, Kunai, Lone Wolf, and Charlie. Meanwhile, on the other side, we do have the team of Rent Free, Delete the Game, Washington, Zero, Privilege, and Temps. So there we go, we have a lot of people here. Both teams free, fair enough, if you say so. Well, one of them is rent-free, so the clue's in the title, but then again, maybe not. Anyway, hopefully we'll be seeing an exciting game matchup between these two teams today, and thank you all for tuning in to come along and join me for it. The bans, of course, being taken off were Thatcher, Monty, Smoke, and The Mirror. As we go on to Oregon, Smoke being quite an interesting one to be got rid of. Of course, several of the strats rely on an anchoring smoke on this site and on this map, so it's going to be interesting to see what both teams decide to bring instead of that smoke to maybe try some different holds and stuff. Maybe they go more aggressive on the roam instead, or maybe they play a bit more passive on site with some other operators trying to, of course, hold down the push points, for example, elbow, or do either team, when we go onto the ground floor site, just decide, you know what, we don't need to play elbow. Elbow just isn't someone we need to play. But hey-ho. Anyway, starting off on defense here, we do have the side of Rent Free starting top floor in both of the bunk rooms. The kids' dorms and I think it's just called main dorms room, but you know it's all called Silver Bunk, and you got like the little games bit over here. Anyway, they start on the top floor, and Xenji team have to be getting on the attack for them. Let's just have a quick look to see who's in chat today. Hey, Inspector Vassi, how you doing, buddy? You're a bit short-staffed at the moment, Maz. Anyway, not too much coming out on the roam so far from the side of Rent Free. Most of them, of course, sat upstairs in sight. There is one player at the moment who has decided to go for a bit of roam. That is Delete the Game, currently playing on the Legion. Sat all the way in the main dining hall over by the small tower. No one seems to be pushing that at the moment, though, as we do see the majority of the Xenji team instead deciding to go for the Garage and Armory push on this side. You have the Sledge prone on the balcony outside of Strampak, but you also have the Ash and the Jackal pushing down below, trying to get things open, trying to, of course, get the mutes off of the wall, which they now realise is on it. Yokai, though, has been aggressively pushed by Privilege, as we did see, unfortunately, the sledge of Shramanak has dropped off of that balcony. He's now been shackled, so we'll just have to see whether he can, of course, counter off that Jackal who's trying to push aggressively up the armory stairs. At the moment, though, he's playing slightly passive towards the bottom, so Privilege was able to fall back into the trophy position. A nade tries to get flung through by the sledge right there, but unfortunately there was an ADS prepared. Sliverage, what the hell am I on about? Picks up the head of Shramanak, getting himself killed, but traded back nicely by Kunai. Delete the game, though, still off on his roam. Has been able to pick up one who was pushing out the bottom of the white stairs. That is Charlie, absolutely gone out of here. Lone Wolf is now trying to push through the attic. He's now got it open, but is taken out by the swinging temps on the Ella, sorry. Kunai going absolutely mad right now, currently on a triple kill, has to ace to win out the round for his team. Still on full health though, and with 1 minute left on the clock and only 2 players left on the side of Rent Free, there is still a chance for him to clutch this one out. The Guru, though, previously placed by Delete the Game at the bottom of the white stairs, does alert the team to his presence and the fact that he will be pushing up the white stairs. A drone was about to be thrown out, but unfortunately falls back, and now just trying to get a little bit more intel into sight, but all intel he gets is that there was Washington over by the silver bunk, but now he has to try and push in with old intel. At least Mine still on the door, does get him, and Ella pushing up aggressively, does manage to do a fuck ton of damage onto the Jackal. Fortunately though, he does manage to pull away, but he doesn't manage to pull the goo mine out of his leg. Now being left on about 26 hit points. He has to go for the rotate all the way around to the main lobby. Instead opting to go for the attic push right here, of course, had been open the Zofia. Did she bring hard breach or something? Either way, with only 15 seconds left, he has to push into sight and collect these 2 kills, securing himself the ace to, of course, get this victory for his team right here. 5 seconds on the clock, he swings around, he sees the Ella, gets a kill on the Ella, quad kill, but he doesn't quite manage to get the ace. Washington able to claim the head of Kunai as he pushes out from the attic position, and the first round goes in favour of Rent Free on the defense. A very good hold there from Rent Free, almost taken apart by this one single man Kunai, but unfortunately, when it all boiled down right to the very end, unfortunately, it fell the way of Rent Free. Hey SPRX, how you doing, buddy? How you enjoying your sub? Oh, dearie me. Second site we do see the side of Rent Free going to on this one. We'll be going downstairs to the laundry room and supply room, starting off there, bringing that Goyo. Of course, 2 shields in pocket. Have they bought the 3rd shield on Ella, or has Ella bought her barbed wire instead to, of course, be using that utility to delay the push coming out from the side of the Xenji team? We'll have to wait to see. Anyway, a quick look at the doors so far. Of course, Kunai has been popping off for his team. 4 kills, nearly securing the last round with an ace for his team. Unfortunately, not quite able to get out the last kill onto Washington, as playing the Wamai by Silver Bunk. But he was almost able to clutch one out for his team. Hopefully, if the rest of his team do pick up a few kills here and there, though, with the ability that he's just showing so far for us today, we may see a couple of rounds going more in favour of the Xenji team than that one did. Glad to hear it, SPRX.
10 seconds remaining.
By the way, thank you very much, GeoHolly7. Thank you very much for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. Although there is no smoke in play, we do actually see 2 of the Goyo shields currently being used to hold the elbow position. They have bought the Jaeger on Privilege, but he doesn't seem to have placed any of his ADSs down in this elbow position. As well as that, a very delayed rotate hole being made there by the shotgun of the Cade. Unfortunately, isn't quite big enough for anybody to fit through. The Ella's having to go, but unfortunately even she can't fit through, being possibly one of the slimmer operators on the team. A crawl through does eventually make it, and now she will be holding this position. As you now see Jaeger trying to also squeeze through to go in there and place some of his ADSs. At the moment though, the push coming out from the side of Xenji team does seem to mainly be focused around the main stairs, pushing down from the main reception into garage. One member has pushed through though of the book to start taking the meeting hall and maybe trying to get that hatch open with a hard breach charge, which she does have in pocket. However, with the Cade being on the board, that hatch is unbreachable at the moment, even for the book. But now a push down into the bottom of Freezer is coming out. Yokai leading the charge, playing on the ace right here. with Kunai in support right behind him. Unfortunately though, Kunai losing most of his hit points, 75 in total, brings him down to a very unhealthy figure. However, scanning some footprints now, he has identified the fact that there is a Jaeger on board, although I'd be very surprised if the team didn't know this already. Nomad now pushes down to the bottom of Laundry, trying to open up another angle for the team as they push down here, completely ignoring the bottom rear stage stairs and also the elbow angle, but we do still see two members of the Red 3 team playing over in that position. Of course, if they are doing that, then it means that there's two bodies that can't be there. Yokai though pushes up aggressively, collects the head of Zero, who was playing on the box in Freezer, sorry. They now have full freezer control and the wall is open. Yokai collects himself a second one, pushing in from the freezer position. He does see a second one on the back of Laundry. He isn't quite able to land the shot, and there is a shield being played there that needs to be taken out. Oh dear. The positioning of that ace was very bad, but Lone Wolf manages to just push in and collect the kill onto Washington. Now pushing in deeper. Charlie gets one, and Shramanak gets the other, securing a flawless round for the Xenji team, collecting this second round for themselves. A much more aggressive push coming out there from the Xenji team on that one. And of course, not losing the bodies early, especially as there was no roam elsewhere on the map from the side of Rent Free, did mean that Xenji team sort of managed to get a lot of ground on into sight, both down the Laundry stairs and into Freezer, without of course losing much health and no bodies at all. Of course, they finished it on a flawless, nobody died on their side, so maybe a little bit more of a roam coming out from the side of Rent Free would have been very useful there. They did spend a lot of time and utility setting up for the blue bunker push, but of course Xenji team may have seen that, or maybe they just decided, you know what, we don't like pushing bunker, and just did not bother pushing into all those strong defences, and instead they pushed into the slightly less well defended side of the Rent Free defence, which allowed them to take control of Freezer very easily, also push down the Laundry stairs and eventually get on into sight. No plant needed, as they were able to, of course, kill out all the remaining members of Rent Free before time was up. Same site being taken again from the side of Rent Free. It's very good to see them, of course, sticking to a site, even though they may have lost it. This time, though, we do not see the Ela being brought in play. Instead, Privilege has swapped off of the Jaeger, giving the Jaeger to Washington instead, and is now on the Cav. There you go. It's almost as if they heard me. Rent Free have answered my pointing out the fact that they were maybe lacking a little bit on the roam department, and now, of course, have bought the Caviera. Of course, a well-placed down on a lone player from the side of Xenji team could, of course, be crucial in allowing Rent Free to win this game if an interrogation is allowed to be taken off. Green though, Privilege just running around all over the place. No actually, correct myself, Jackal is still being bought, but of course Cav is the perfect roaming counter for the Jackal, as when you go into that silent step ability, you cannot actually, well, firstly you don't leave any footprints, and secondly, if the Jackal has tracked you from footprints that you have left, he won't be able to track you when you have your ability activated. Push though starting to come in right now from Xenji team into the bottom of the big tower. Currently trying to scan those footprints, but Jackal decides better of it. Actually no, he has used one of them. It is currently scanning possibly the Caviera, who's all the way over in the kitchen at the moment. But I believe she used her ability to, of course, counter it. Instead now delete the game. Playing on the Legion in this pillar's position is the one being trackled. And of course now pressure is being applied onto him on this pillar. Just droning out at the moment. But the Cav still playing on the roam does do a absolute butt ton of damage onto Yokai, the ace, with the diffuser in hand, but unfortunately not quite able to finish him off. Now falls back into a slightly safer position, playing in the back of the kitchen. Now being completely pushed though by the Jackal, is now taken down by Kunai after being left on a very low health from the earlier engagement. Kunai going big so far for his team, as said earlier, 5 kills to his name. The rest of his team combined have the same number of kills. Hopefully he can pick up a few more and maybe carry his team to victory right here. Or maybe the rest of the team will pick up something. Though Zero being now attacked at the... I'm not quite sure where that was. Looks like once again Freezer is the push. A double reinforcement coming out here onto the wall, stopping any lines of sight from being played in the Laundry position. But now that the wall is being opened behind the likes of Shramanak, those angles can now be played. The Jaeger is now playing deep within Laundry. Does have a Goyo shield in play, but of course that Goyo shield can be taken out, and of course the damage being done from it could prove critical in taking out Washington's playing in this position. And as I say that, the ace charge comes through and does destroy that shield. A few flames, not actually doing any damage onto the Jaeger of Washington, but a good crossfire there from Temp does mean that one falls, but Shramanak gets a trade onto Washington, and Charlie gets another headshot on to delete the game. Now a push through, almost a double kill. Oh my goodness, the whiffs! The whiffs coming out from Temps. He tries to run away, but all four remaining members of Xenji team do collapse onto his position. Eventually picking him up was Kunai. Almost gifted that one by the rest of its team. It's almost as if they want to feed him even more kills. Currently sat at 6 kills now compared to the rest of his team's 8. Another very good round coming out there from Xenji team, though, being able to break through the defences of the Rent-Free team. Unfortunately, meaning so far that Rent-Free has only been able to get their very first starting defensive round on the board, which was in the kids' dorms main hall, which we now see them going back to as their second site, 4th round to be played. And let's see whether they can, of course, replicate the stronghold that they were able to put up the first time round. Or will we see the momentum? There we go. Goodness me, I'm struggling with my words today. Now that Xenji has got some momentum behind them, will they, of course, be able to carry this forward now onto attacking onto this site that maybe they didn't do as well at previously? Quite an odd choice here coming out from Temps. He does have the suppressor on that Ella shotgun right there. Not exactly a personal favourite of mine. I'd rather prefer that extended barrel, of course, so you can do a lot more damage over longer ranges. Since the shotgun is already pretty deadly most of the time, having that extra range added to it could, of course, prove critical. But instead, he has opted to go for the suppressor, maybe going for the stealthy approach on this one. But then again, with that coughing and spluttering shotgun, I'm not quite sure whether the stealth approach is necessarily the right one. A cheeky peek coming out here from Delete the Game. Will he collect anybody on spawn peak? No, he will not, because every member of Xenji team has instead spawned elsewhere. One over at small tower, but all the rest are spawned over towards the big tower side, and will now be pushing to secure this big tower and push in from this location. No Maverick being bought on the side of Xenji team does mean that maybe it might be slightly more difficult to get this attic wall open here, as they do have to get control into meeting underneath to, of course, get that, to be able to use the IQ below to get that mute jammer off of the wall. But of course, once the mute jammer is gone, as you now see, those aces do deploy and that wall does get open nice and easy. Shramanak does manage to pick himself up an early pick, pushing over on the double window area. Not quite sure where he got that pick onto. Was it a member of the team of Rent-Free playing behind the silver bunk? Yes, indeed it was. Playing at top of the white stairs, Legion was taken out, unfortunately, with a headshot there. Ella, though, now playing close with the pistol out rather than the shotgun. Not sure whether that would be my personal choice. But hey-ho, the IQ now falls off as the approach seems to be. Let's push up the white stairs. But control has now been got over on the attic side as Yokai starts pushing in. The reinforcement has been put up on the rotate. And now Attic does seem to be completely open. Privilege, though, has pushed downstairs and does collect himself 1 kill onto the IQ. Pushing behind, though, Privilege does see the ace from behind, does manage to get the down and the kill. That is Diffuser down in the game's room, with the 3 remaining members of the Xenji team being over towards the white stairs side. 1 on the double window, 1 white stairs, and the Nomad is rotating below, about to go up. The Nomad, though, manages to blow Temps onto the floor, meaning that Kunai can go down there and collect the kill very easily. Ella not able to answer back to that aggression either. With the diffuser down on the floor, though, and 60 seconds left on the clock, this certainly looks like it's Xenji team's round to lose, since they do have the advantage. They might not have diffuser in hand, but of course they may push together. And as I said, that Charlie gets a beautiful little headshot there onto the Wamai playing at the back of Silver Bunk. Privilege, though, does collect himself another one, currently on the triple kill. He has to ace right now to get the victory on this one. Does he realise that the diffuser has been picked up? Yes, he probably hears now the diffuser being planted. He now swings a corner, an angle being held by the Zephyr of Charlie, but Privilege loses the gunfight, whiffs a lot of his shots, and a third round goes in favour of the Xenji team. 3 attacks on the trot now have been won by Xenji team, and Rent-Free really need to start finding some momentum here, some better ground in all of this one to start propelling their defences forward. They managed to get the first one, but maybe that was because Xenji team wasn't quite as warmed up as maybe they wanted to be, which unfortunately, now that they do seem a lot warmer, a lot more coordinated, their pushes are going well, they're landing the headshots. It's not just Kunai doing all the work, although he's still doing quite a lot. They are getting the better of Rent-Free on this one. A couple of players, though, on Rent-Free's side are doing very well. We have seen, of course, Privilege pick up 5 so far, 2 going towards Temps, but Delete the Game, 0, and Washington unfortunately not being able to do as much as is needed right now to quench and stop the flow of rounds that just seem to be going in favour of the Xenji team at the moment. Hopefully, though,
Attackers need to
Rent-Free
locate
can
and
start
defuse
pulling it back
bombs.
on this one as they do opt to go for their preferred site, which of course will see them go back to the bunks, different bunks rooms again on the top floor. Hopefully this defense will go slightly better than their previous one, and as well as their first. Slight different setup, of course, being bought. Privilege has swapped off of the Jaeger and onto the Alibi. Temps instead has picked up that role of the Jaeger. Washington has gone back onto the Wamai, which he was playing previously. Delete the game as well on that Legion. And Zero once again sticking on the mute. Zero though having a lot to do with that shotgun though, opening up a lot of rotates on site, but also having to place down a lot of his utility. With 0 seconds left of the prep phase, he doesn't appear to have actually set up any rotates on site. You see, of course, we don't have the normal kids rotate. There's nothing going from kids onto the main silver bunk. There's nothing at the top white. If of course Xenji team do realise that this setup has been so, not poorly done, but of course so half done at this point, then of course they could push in aggressively nice and early and gain advantage of this, but now we do see the likes of Zero starting to open that up. Once again, we do see Shramanak on the IQ, starting to push onto Zabuna, has now dropped off to the bottom of white. And now trying to see if he can spot anything below. Kunai though managed to pick himself up a nice early pick onto Privilege, who was sneaking down below. That's not a very good way to start the round, with the best fragger on the side of Rent-Free unfortunately falling to the best fragger on the side of Xenji team. Currently 9 kills having gone in favour of Kunai. As we are now in round number 5. That's almost... that's more than 2 kills per round. No. Almost 2 kills per round. Again into a gunfight here though, is somehow managed to walk away with absolutely no health lost in that one and managed to do a little bit back onto Zero. They do still have the wall only partially open. It is vaultable, but they mainly don't want to be pushing here with, of course, such a small hole being open. The Jackal, though, has now rotated all the way around and is currently waiting on this Gains of Hell, seeing if he can pick anybody up. But Washington instead finds the headed clean little angle there being held from the attic position behind the shield. Zero as well now playing on here, just waiting to see exactly where the push will be coming through from. And as well, we see Temps pushing up close onto the breach, just waiting maybe as a bit of a surprise for whichever plays him. And as I say that, he aggressively swings the breach and manages to lane the head of Charlie, who was pushing up. Yokai has now been downed as well in Trophy Room, and now it's all up to Shramanak and Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf is a Lone Wolf at the moment, pushing at the top of white. Only sees Jaeger at the very last minute, and Jaeger managed to get the down onto him at the top of the red stairs. Shramanak on very low health as well, is easily picked up by Delete the Game, all the way from the back of Silverbunk, and finally a round falls in favour of Rent-Free. A much needed victory for them, a much needed round going in their favour on this one. As I pointed out already, they had lost their momentum somewhat previously. Much better defence of the top floor site for them though does see them bringing another round back, and hopefully they can get another round in pocket on this one to bring themselves at least getting the draw split on the first half, which is certainly how they would like to finish this one. Of course, being on the defense, would we still say that the meta is very much defender-sided? I'm not too sure, but certainly if it is, they want to be finishing this defensive side in the best position possible, so they want to be finishing it as close to a full 6-0 as they can, which at the moment would see them finishing this one a 3-3 even split.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused.
However, though, they have not had much luck trying to defend this basement site so far, as every single time they've gone here, up to now, Xenji team has been able to completely take any of their defences apart and be able to push on into site and take it, either fragging out or trying to force that plant down, although I think every time it has ended up just boiling down to Xenji team being able to get all the kills that they need to, of course, win out that round. Hopefully a slightly better hold this time will come out from them, and maybe a very crucial ban, of course, having been bought out on the side of Xenji team. Getting rid of that smoke does mean that a lot of these pushes they can maybe be a little bit more aggressive on, certainly late in the round as well. You do see, though, a rotate having been opened by the likes of Zero and now just been instantly reinforced over by Delete the Game. Obviously, the the elbow position is not what they wanted to hold, but a lot of time was wasted there by the Cade trying to get that rotate open. So to have it then reinforced over does seem like not necessarily the best use of time. So we'll just have to wait and see on this one. The Cade being instead rotated off of this triple wall in E-box instead onto the hatch. So let's see exactly what's going on there. Above we do see the likes of Zofia, that is Charlie, pushing up to the second floor and actually decides better of it. Currently looks like he's maybe trying to go for a repel. But instead we do see the Nomad of Shramanak pushing onto the main door, getting a Nomad to cover off any rotates that come on the top stairs. One person on the roam at the moment though, two in fact. We do see Privilege and Temp on the roam as Delete the Game gets the early opening frag onto the breach that was opened up by the Ace. The Ace is now completely gone and I believe still had at least 2 Ace charges in pocket. So walls will no longer get open. This of course is a very crucial operator to lose early on for the likes of the Xenji team. With, of course, a lot of walls still remaining that need to be opened. What is Delete the Game doing? Obviously, he doesn't see the head of Kunai, who's holding such a tight little angle there. Of course, we can very easily see it with the... Oh, no! Zero walking out, maybe doesn't realise that the E-box wall is completely open and gets easily picked up there by the likes of Kunai. Still popping off and going up big on this round so far, seeing a C4 and a... Legion Mine though takes it out quite easily. Washington though does even the numbers slightly by taking out, Shramanak pushing down the main stairs. Kunai gets privileged though as Tempso is still on the roam, manages to pick up Lone Wolf. Kunai and Charlie though are in sight and will be forcing the plant down, and the remaining 2 members, only one of them is actually in sight and he's not really able to contest. The plant does get stuck by Kunai, and in a post-plant situation Temp needs to get back to try and support his teammate. Now pushing through from the freeze area, he does get taken out by Charlie. It's now a 1v2 situation. Washington has to clutch up big in this one. A double kill will secure him the win here, but he needs to find out where these 2 players are. He does hear the Zofia missing whiffs from everybody, but eventually Charlie is able to pick that one up. And 4 rounds to 2 is what we see Xenji team being able to pick up here as we head into the second half of this map. A very good starting defense from Rent Free, of course, saw them take the first round, but after then they just struggled to find their best defense against the side of Xenji team. Some of their roamers maybe needed to get back to site slightly quicker than they did. Of course, we saw Temp and Privilege being very still out on the roam, despite the fact that there was the Jackal of Kunai in sight, forcing that diffuser down on the default plant spot. If maybe they had rotated slightly earlier, we may have seen a different result, because of course if they had come back earlier, then yeah, there would have been more bodies on site. But unfortunately with that late rotate, it did mean that the Jaeger sort of boxed into the freezer position and was very easily taken out by Charlie, who was watching for that rotate just at the right time. And of course eventually able to pick up the final kill as well, after a little bit of whiff on both sides. Unfortunately for them, I was able to catch it on stream for you guys. So we'll just have to wait and see on this one. It's been a long, hard Monday for me, it has to be said, so apologies if maybe my excitement and the energy in the stream isn't quite there today, but hopefully you guys are enjoying it all the same.
10 seconds to go.
First site being chosen by the Xenji team will be the top floor, both the bunker rooms once again being the site of choice for this team. And as we head into round number 7, so far on all the rounds played, we have seen Kunai pick up a minimum of 2 kills. Since we've only just started round 7, he would need to finish this one on 14. So of course we've got 2 kills minimum every single round, so we'll just have to wait and see whether he can do that. And he's off on the roam on his own. Pushing over to a small tower at the moment. The sledge is outside, so he maybe won't be able to pick that up at the moment. But of course, in this position, if he isn't droned out well enough, then he may be able to get the opening frag onto the sledge of Washington, who has now started pushing on into the small tower. A cheeky little flick there from Washington, does manage to pre-fire the bullet hole, the punch hole, and is able to take it out. But an instant refrag from Yokai does get Washington down on his arse in the small tower. However, an answering frag from the, I believe it was Zero. I'm not quite sure, I completely missed who actually picked up that kill, is able to pick up Shramanak, who was playing over in the trophy position. And now Zero starts trying to push on into sight. Playing that Nomad does mean, of course, he's going to Nomad off these stairs, make sure that their flanks are covered, so they cannot be pushed. Privilege, though, taking a bit of damage as he has run into the roamer of Yokai downstairs. Yokai, though, I believe had the hatch open. No, he doesn't. Instead, he's contesting the angle and gets taken out by Privilege. A nice, easy pick there for Privilege, knowing exactly where that vigil was. And because the hatch hadn't been opened and maybe no impacts were left in his pockets, did mean that he was able to force it out. Delete the Game does eat a C4, somehow still alive after that one. Is now planting on the default plant position. Charlie, though, does push up close and is able to pick up Privilege, who was playing aggressively at the top of White Stairs. Charlie collects himself a second one, a cheeky little headshot onto Zero. Now pushing around, collects, Delete the Game, a triple now going out for him. The last member of Rent Free, Temp, is on the on the breach. Does manage to pick up Lone Wolf, and now it's a 1v1. Charlie versus Temp. Who will win on this one? The Legion versus the Ash. The Legion whiffs a lot. An accidental panic knife does mean that shots aren't coming out from the pistol, but wrong time to be pulling out the impact nade as Temp hears him coming from behind. Swings out with a pistol in hand and lands the beautiful one tap to secure the next round for Rent Free. Oh my goodness, what a cheeky one tap coming out there from Temp. The perfect pre-fire, and as I say, the perfect one tap as well, just completely taking the head off Charlie, who had done so much to, of course, bring his team back into that one, getting himself a triple, just starting at the top of White Stairs and pushing through the site that the side of Rent Free had taken. But unfortunately, when it came down to that 1v1, Temp just knew exactly where he was coming from. The sound cue coming from the master bedroom meant that he turned around at just the right time, and Charlie, unfortunately, deciding to try and whip out that impact to try and pokeball the Ash, unfortunately, was the bad play, because with his gun not up, Temp was able to swing the corner. But with such a clean one tap, I'm not sure that Charlie would have been able to win that one out. After losing on the top floor site, we do see Xenji team deciding to instantly opt out of playing that top floor site once again, and instead now goes down into the basement. A very different setup coming from them here. Not a single shield in sight compared to, of course, the side of Rent Free, who very much bought the Goyo most rounds when they played at the when they played on this ground floor site. So of course, bringing those two Goyo shields in pocket does mean that they have a couple of shields to utilize. And I do believe they also bought often either an Ella or an Alibi, somebody else to just have one of those normal shields that could be played in other locations. Oh dear, a little bit of damage being done there onto Lone Wolf by Charlie. The impact nade going out at just the wrong time meant his teammate was just a bit too close to that one. As we now see Rent Free deciding exactly where they're going to be starting this push. The very aggressive Kunai, though, sitting in garage. If only he knew to break that barricade, then he'd pick up a double. There we go, there's one. He whiffed, but he manages to get the double kill for Kunai, starting this one off strong. 2 headshots, although we did see him whiff horrifically onto the back of the Zofia of Privilege. Oh dear. Hey ho, though, he does still manage to claim the kill. Privilege just completely unaware that his teammate, of course, had just died. Washington was able to pick up Kunai, though, but an almost instant refrag from Yokai as he does put the sledge down to about 25 health. Shramanak, though, able to pick up 1 kill for his team as well, putting 0 down on the floor. Now it's all just up to Washington and Temp, pushing in 2 very different locations. Temp currently sat on the back of the rear stage stairs. Meanwhile, though, Washington is sat all the way over by Freezer. Temp, though, getting into a bit of gunfight here, does manage to win against the Bandit. Is expecting the Wumaido, but Shramanak, playing in the bunker position, is able to take the head clean off Temp. Washington picks himself up another one. That is currently, I believe, a double for Washington coming out. Was able to pick up Kunai, and now hopefully able to pick up the remaining 3 members of Xenji team. If, of course, he is able to do this, then he will ace and win the round for his team. But with only 20 hit points left after walking into that goo mine, it's certainly not looking very promising for the remaining member of Rent Free.
Defender exposed.
Especially as well, right now, the side of Xenji team does have the diffuser in hand outside that bunker, and Charlie, playing in the freezer position, does get a clean little one tap by the sounds of it onto the head of Washington as he pushes in further, playing that prone position, what many people would say is the rat spot. Maybe wasn't quite as clean as I gave him credit for. Of course, he didn't hear the bullets coming out, but of course he was able to eventually claim the head of that Sledge, who pushed on into freezer, and with how low health, unfortunately, Washington was left on at the end of that. Even a toe shot would have probably finished him off right there. So the headshot was just a little bit overkill, but Charlie still wanted to just pad his stats out. The site now being chosen by the side of Xenji team, hoping to give it another go right here, will be going on to the top floor. Back to the kids' dorms main hall. A very strong attack, though, coming out from Rent Free. Did, of course, take apart the defense last time. Charlie gave it his all, managing to get a triple, as I said before, pushing back through site after the plant had gone down. However, he was unable to win the 1v1 versus Temps. Will we see the same result coming out this time? Or will Rent Free be able to keep their man advantage all the way through to the death of the rounds? Or will we even see them coming in with or will we even see them coming in with a man advantage by the time they start pushing on into site and beginning their executes? Hey Ty, how you doing? By the way, thank you very much for the follow. Tyzar. Go off, Queen. What are you on about? And Electra Gaming HC. Hello, good to see you.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
So a quick look at the scoreboards then to see what's happening so far. Certainly Charlie and Kunai can be classed as the MVPs even before we get to the end of this game for the side of the Xenji team, being able to pick up 14 and 10 kills between them. Well, between them that would be 24, but 14 to Kunai, 10 to Charlie. The rest of the team maybe need to pick a few more. Yokai and Lone Wolf are certainly ones to point out. But the side of Rent Free, apart from Zero, have all been sort of sharing the kills out quite nicely, allowing, of course, them to get the 3 rounds on the board. But unfortunately, with 5 rounds currently on the board for Xenji team, they are certainly the ones showing a bigger right here, right now. The Ash playing below does get now the remaining 2 bandits off that wall, and with the floor open, it might be quite difficult for the bandits to trick this. As an ace charge now goes through, starting to open up that wall. No, instead it opens up the castle barricade that has been used on that door. C4 being used to trick the ace charges, but unfortunately C4 wasn't placed in quite the right position. But Shramanak, though, now rotating off, is able to pick up the ace, playing aggressively in the master bedroom. Now at the top of the armory stairs, though, is Temp. Look, the wrong time to look away, Shramanak, as Temp pushes around and secures a clean little headshot. Get himself another kill. Privilege, though, gets another one for Rent Free as they start gaining a bit more momentum, pushing into a double kill going for Privilege on, I believe, the double window. No, bottom white stairs. 2 remaining members now of the side of the Xenji team have got to hold tight. Charlie, who of course has proven so critical and so dangerous on previous rounds, will be holding the top of white stairs at the moment. He does have the other player of Lone Wolf. Hopefully this is his opportunity to collect a few more kills for his team and hopefully secure them the victory. But at the moment, grenades coming out, being tossed up from below. I believe that was one through the floor from Washington. Privilege, though, collects himself a triple, putting down Charlie on the floor, and it's now a 1v4 situation for Lone Wolf. Zero has rushed in and started forcing that plant down. But Lone Wolf swings, collects Privilege, but Washington was right behind him at the top of white stairs to get the refrag onto his teammates and secure the round for Rent Free. Another very good attacking round coming out from the side of Rent Free there, securing themselves another round win and putting the scoreline so far as we head into round number 10, 5 rounds to 4. Yeah, yes, Queen. Hey Lisa, how you doing? Welcome to stream. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Hopefully I've hyped it up enough for you guys. But yes, welcome, welcome. Oh, dear me. Normally everything's even more hyped than this, but unfortunately today I am a bit sleepy, if I'm honest. I've had a very long day at work. I kind of just want to go to bed. But I said I would cast this game for these guys tonight for the Colossus League, so we will have to. I did give you a shout out, Electra. Either way you are there, Electra. How you doing, buddy? I did give you a shout out though earlier, so there you go. Anyway, a little squeakiness in my voice, so I do apologise. Xenji team now opting to go once again back to the top floor onto the dorm sites. Hopefully this time they'll be able to hold out a little bit more against the onslaught of Rent Free on this one. Of course they cannot go downstairs back into the basement as that site is still locked to them since they won it only 1 round ago. And 2 rounds have to pass before the 3rd round, where you then are able to play the site that you won on the defensive side. So of course, depending on what happens, it then allows the attacking team to have a better idea of what side they're going to be going to. And of course, with the side of Rent Free, maybe not expecting them to go to the top floor once again after they've been absolutely mullered on this site twice. But certainly, as they may have now drawn this out, they will be expecting this and know exactly what they need to do, which is the same thing as last time. Privilege getting an early pick onto Kunai, one of the most crucial members so far, as I've said before, of the Xenji team side. Shots coming out there from the Bandit of Lone Wolf, who is playing all the way down in Freezer. Unfortunately, unable to land the shots onto Privilege, and has now just had to GTFO all the way back to the rear stage stairs. Running back up now, manages to walk away with his life. But unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to get the answering pick onto Privilege, of course, putting his team back in this one. Shramanek is playing in the meeting area though, maybe does hear the Zofia crouching around in the classroom area, but only 2 members of the Xenji team are currently on site. if, of course, a full rush now comes out from the side of Rent-Free and they do just push on into site, they may be able to easily get this open. But a drone coming out manages to, of course, find Stramanek, and Privilege is able to pick himself up the double kill. A Zero also collects the likes of Charlie, who was up in sight. Now just trying to find the bandit below. Zero is now pushing on, and Delete the Game does finally get Yokai. One final remaining member of the Xenji team is left alive as Delete the Game goes for the plant down in the kid's bedroom. Can Lone Wolf get some more kills here? No, he can't! A flawless round coming out from Rent-Free as Temps claims their final kill of that round and secures them another attacking round onto the top floor. After saying that the side of Xenji team maybe needed a few more roamers on their defences, we now see the complete opposite coming out from them. Wait, have I got the right one? No, Rent-Free, when they were on their defences, we were asking, of course, or saying that they maybe should have a few more roamers. Their turtle hold maybe not quite working out against Xenji team on their attack. Now we're seeing the complete opposite from Xenji team when they're on their defence. We are seeing maybe too many roamers, not enough people on site, and certainly if the roamers aren't being as effective as they are, which certainly at the moment they've been all the opening kills, basically the entire team's gone before Rent-Free have to even push into sight. That's very good drone work, very good communication coming out from the side of Rent-Free, allowing them to, of course, just slap around this Xenji team as much as they are. Of course, then does mean that they get to pick up the early kills, the late kills, and eventually, of course, then be pushing on into sight. By the way, thank you very much, Lisa, for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. 155 followers now. Means a lot, you guys. Thank you all for dropping a follow, and thank you all for tuning in today. According to my Streamlabs, we do have about 10 of you in at the moment. There may be more, there may be less, I'm not quite sure. So I'll just have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, now that the ground floor site is back open to the Xenji team have opted to move on to this one. Maybe playing this site a little more turtled, or maybe once again having those roamers off-site. Of course, the only reason... Well, one of the main reasons that they did win this site previously was, of course, the aggressive roam coming out from Kunai was able to pick up a quick and easy double onto the likes of Privilege and Zero, as, of course, he caught them both napping outside the big tower stairs from the garage door. An early pick like that is exactly what the side of Xenji team would want on this one, as so far Rent-Free have looked far more competent than them on the attacking side at the moment. The Zofia of Privilege at the moment is pushing with Delete the Game through into the blue barrel side, deciding exactly how they're going to be pushing this one. The Melusi device now being taken out. Pre-fires coming out from the bandit as he tries to swing the door, but walks away still on full health. The C4, though, being cooked, I believe. He's just waiting for a member of Rent-Free to push down the rear stage stairs and see if he can get a cheeky C4 kill onto them. But at the same time, he's being pressured from behind, although he does have the support of his Melusi. That is Yokai playing at the bottom of the stairs. A drone comes out there, does reveal his position in Harry Potter, as Privilege now swings the door and is able to pick up Yokai. Lone Wolf is in a really difficult position. It does manage to delete the game, but with 4 players pushing him, he is able to collect 1 onto Temps. The ace is still alive though and able to crawl away and get picked up. The diffuser is down, as we now see Nomad having taken the pillar position and playing within this Harry Potter position. Shots coming out onto Washington, who has pushed into the freezer from the Legion, as we now see Kunai is on the roam. If he times this right, he may be able to get a cheeky kill. Unfortunately, though, gets knocked on his ass by the Nomad charge and has decided to rotate away. Zero is now down on the floor, though, deep in sight, as Lone Wolf is now getting pressured quite a lot by the side of Privilege. Privilege, though, playing close to 1, easily picks up the kill, collects himself a triple, and Washington over in the freezer collects the final kill of the round, securing another attacking win for the side of Rent-Free. Once again, those roamers not necessarily working for the side of Xenji team. The round that they did work, we of course saw the recent round that they've won so far. Of course, ever since then, every other round that we've seen them playing on defense, their roamers just haven't got the kills that they needed and instead have died on the roam. Maybe now is the time, especially since we do see Rent-Free taking the first match point of this best of 2. Now might be the time to maybe shy away a little bit from those roamers and maybe play a little more closer to site, maybe play a little bit more of a passive game, maybe a little bit more of a turtle game. But of course, seeing that Vigil and the Jaeger still being in play from both Charlie and Kunai, it may be the complete opposite that Xenji team are going to be trying again. Will, of course, Rent-Free be able to break through this aggressive roam from them once again, or will we see a completely different result. Is this the time that Xenji team, when they absolutely need to secure themselves an overtime at least, is this the time that we do see Xenji team showing up big and being able to hold onto this basement site? It's certainly their preferred site, as they were able to win it the first time round, but as I say, that may be more down to the fact that Kunai was able to get the opening 2 frags, compared to the fact that, of course, they just held this site better than they did the top floor site, as certainly Rent Free probably would have looked as strong as they did on the previous round if they hadn't lost 2 members of their team so early, especially one of them being Privilege and Zero, who both in the previous round went a big Privilege collects himself the double, and Zero collects himself at least 1 if not 2 kills in the last round as well. Jones going out to see if there are any roamers, and at the moment it doesn't seem to be, despite the fact that Vigil and Jaeger are currently being played on the side of the Xenji team. No roamers are present. Instead, everybody is sticking on site and just taking their time, which means that this roam clear coming out from Rent Free at the moment is maybe slightly useless, since of course there is nobody actually on the roam at the moment. We do see the Nomad of Zero though starting to take the bottom of the rear stage. The bottom of Big Tower, sorry, at the rear stage stairs. Putting up those Nomads on the flank. He does push forwards though, doesn't realise that Kunai is playing so aggressively on the stairs, and Kunai is able to pick up a nice opening pick. That's exactly what Xenji team needed in this one, to start trying to bring this one back. This is the round where they need to show up to bring themselves into that overtime position, to give themselves a fighting chance to still be able to secure this game for themselves, as at the moment we just need 1 round going in favour of Rent Free for them to be able to win this one. Privilege, though, pushing aggressively onto the pillars position, is able to collect the head of Shramanak, who's playing around that pillar. Fortunately, though, does die, and with the softball right in front of him, if only Privilege knew how close that Jaeger was, if only the prefires could come out right here, right now, then maybe he'd pick himself up an easy kill. The C4, though, being ripped by the mute, does go off. Actually does a bit of damage onto Kunai. Privilege and Washington picks himself up a kill. Still doesn't realise that Kunai is in there, but an instant refrag from Delete the Game does mean that it's now a 1v3 situation. Charlie, 11 kills so far to his name. Can he get 3 more and put himself on 14 to win out the round on this one? He is sort of stuck, though, in the freezer. And there you go. Managed to pick up Privilege, but Delete the Game was right behind him, able to get that refrag. And Rent Free take map number 1 on Oregon, 7 rounds to 5. A very good performance from both of these teams, but Rent Free certainly showing up big on their attacking half, making up for maybe the losses that they weren't expecting on their defense. Eventually able to come through for the victory. The second map we will be going to today will be that of Chalet. Certainly an interesting one for us to be seeing, as it's only just recently come into the rotation thanks to the new season being released. And these 2 teams will be taking us there. Certainly a shout out wants to be made to the likes of Kunai, Charlie and Privilege. But Kunai and Charlie, unfortunately, I was commenting on how good they had been on their attacking half. I believe we saw Kunai finish on 10 kills after the first attacking half from the side of Xenji team. And the same from Charlie, but with like maybe 8 or 9 kills at that point. They didn't have as much impact as maybe they needed to in the second half, which is why Rent Free were able to just push on into site, get the kills that they needed, get those early picks on the roamers, and eventually, of course, be pushing on into site and just winning out those rounds, which is exactly what they needed to do, and certainly made up for their slightly weaker defense. Anyway, as I said, though, we will get everything set up nicely to head into our second map of Chalet. And while I'm doing that, I'm just having a quick break so I can use the facilities. I'm just going to run some ads for you guys. They greatly help the channel out, so please do watch them if you can. Just go away, get yourself a drink if nothing else, because even if you're not physically watching them, they do, of course, help me out a little bit. So thank you guys for that. I will be back with you shortly, and we will head into the second map, which will see us taking on Chalet. Hello and welcome back, everybody. As you can see, one member of Xenji team at the moment has just disconnected, so we're waiting for them to join back in, and then we'll be getting underway with map number 2. I'll shortly be sorting out the prediction, as Connor has just reminded me in the chat that, of course, I didn't sort out the prediction, deciding, of course, who's who, so I'll get that sorted very shortly. Ready to go whenever ready from both sides. Cool, perfect, there we go. So yes, Connor, if you're still in the chat and you're still listening, it was indeed Rent-Free that were able to clinch that one out, winning... How many? I believe it was 5 attacking rounds in a row. Maybe 6. I can't remember. No, 5. 5 indeed. 5 attacking rounds in a row to clinch themselves the victory on this one, winning 7-5 against Xenji team. Cool, perfect. Everybody's ready. I've got everything set up and ready to go. So let's head into this second map of Chalet. And a quick disclaimer before, of course, we get into this one. I just want to say, the timing. The timing. I'll pause and let Charlie join back. But yes, a quick disclaimer from myself is just to, of course, say that I maybe don't know Chalet as well as some other maps when it comes to callouts and stuff. So apologies if my casting is a little bit rough around the edges on this one. But of course, we will hopefully... We'll get through, and hopefully it'll be alright. And it won't be that painful to watch. But if it is, I do deeply apologise. And we'll just have to wait and see how things continue on this one. While we wait for the bands to go through, though, the first one being Thatcher, I will get the second prediction underway. Will it be Xenji team? If I could actually spell team, that would be nice. Or will it be Rent-Free taking the second map? And of course securing themselves the win from this best of 2. Well, you will have 20 minutes so you can start watching the beginning of this game and see how you guys find it. But yes, indeed, I'm Connor. They did indeed pull it back on attack. Certainly seemed that both teams were far better at attacking on Oregon than they were defending. Neither team really managing to find their feet all that well on the defense, but of course that second round that we were able to see the side of Rent-Free being able to clinch out on their defense, of course, finishing that first half 4 rounds to 2 was of course a difference maker, because if only Xenji team had been able to get one more round up on the side of Rent-Free, we would have gone straight into overtime at that point, because fortunately with them winning one of their defenses as well, they were in a strong position to have taken it to overtime, but unfortunately with the rounds going the wrong way, it did eventually end up being a Rent-Free win. Jackal, Cade and Smoke are the other bans that have been taken off. Of course, the Thatcher and the Cade ban often being 2 that you see coming out, because Cade can hide his claws in some very inconspicuous places, and they're also quite difficult to, of course, find. So with him being banned off, and of course the Thatcher not being available, it will mean that a lot of walls are easier to get open. But with the Maverick still on side, of course, he may prove crucial in getting a couple of these walls open on Chalet, as you see, of course, Zero bringing out the Maverick straight away. Can get that wall open nice and easily, and there's of course not too much you would do. So personally for me, when I do play on this map, I personally prefer to actually ban the Maverick, as you can bandit or Cade trick against a Thatcher far more effectively than you can try and bandit or Cade trick against a Maverick, because of course if he puts those feet at you, holes at your feet, not feet at your holes. If he puts those holes at your feet, then of course he can shoot through them and just completely take you out, and there's no way that you can answer back to them at all. The starting site, though, for the side of Xenji team will be downstairs in the basement, Snowmobile Lounge and Wine Cellar. Snowmobile Lounge? Snowmobile and wine. I sound like I've had a bit of wine this evening. I am absolutely loopy this evening. Oh, dear me. King Privilege just said something quite funny in the Discord chat. Against the Xenji team. He's saying, please stop banning Smoke because we don't actually have a Smoke player. So they, by the sounds of it, they wouldn't necessarily be playing him anyway. But we'll just have to wait and see how this defense comes out. 2 bandits being used, of course, on this main wall here. 3 ADSs in play as well, trying to maybe counter any nades that are being sent through. But of course, with that Maverick on side of Xenji team, they are just able to easily open up the floor, as you see here, Zero doing right here, right now. Very easily able to just of course, get this wall open. Some, not necessarily the best of holes being brought out here by Zero, but does eventually manage to get that open, allowing Washington to hold this rappel angle through onto the connector room. Wait to see if any members of Xenji team, of course, push from there. But it does seem like at the moment, all members of Xenji team, nobody's on site. Where the hell are these people? We have the Jaeger of Kunai top floor. We have Mute playing quite aggressively on the main stairs, who's now back on in sight. But other than that, there's only the Bandit who's now roaming around in Wine. Legion's all the way over in the other garage, just waiting for someone to push over there. And the other member of the team is currently on the roam as well. Is so far paying dividends though, as Shramanak is able to pick up the opening frag onto Temps, but Privilege able to quickly refrag that one back for his team, keeping them in the man advantage. Yokai though, with a cheeky little SMG-11 headshot in the back of sight here, is able to pick up the lead again. And now contesting onto the breach where the final two remaining members of Xenji team are found. ADS is of course being in play, does mean that that grenade doesn't find him, but the bullets do, as Zero does manage to take Yokai out of this one, a clean headshot doing so. Washington's still on this rappel, does have his legs dangling. Maybe if he could swap around and play it on the upside down rappel, he'd be slightly safer. But right now, of course, with two members left on their side, they do still have the Maverick to maybe make a play somewhere. But at the moment, I think they're just deciding exactly how they want to attack this one, as nobody really knows what they want to do. Drone work now coming out from Zero, but with the Mute still in play around and about, he may notice some stuff. The Legion, though, able to just completely travel through that rotate, despite the fact that Washington was watching it. Despite drones going out, though, they haven't actually realised that there are 3 ADSs. All of these nades will be eaten. There you go, that's all ADSs burnt. But unfortunately for them, that is also all their grenades burnt at the same time. Zero is still just playing on the wall, wasting time. With only 30 seconds left, the Xenji team just need to make a play right here. They need to do something. Washington has decided to do this by hopping in above, but Kunai, playing a cheeky little angle from above through the soft floor, is able to get the headshot onto Washington. Now playing aggressively on this snowmobile window. He does fire out, does a little bit damage onto Zero, but Zero now falls off of the breach and doesn't have much chance to win this one. One player on either side. He jumps through. A lone wolf, not even the one who was necessarily closest to getting the kill, is the one who is able to secure that one. 3 members all swing him at the same time. There was no way the Zero was able to win that one out. So unfortunately, we do see the first round. Well, fortunately for them, unfortunately for the side of Red Free, we do see Xenji team able to clutch this one out. Have I been saying them the wrong way around? I believe I have. I believe I was saying Xenji team were on the attack and Rent-Free on the defense, but that was the last game. This game right now, we are seeing Rent-Free on the attack, which they look so strong at on Oregon, but of course Oregon is a very well-known map for most people. Whether you come from a comp background or a ranked background, basically everybody knows some sort of strat, some sort of setup. The map for Oregon, because it is one that's been in the game for so long, even in its latest form, which of course has been reworked, not necessarily recently, but it has been reworked. So, be seeing this chalet map was a Xenji pick. I'm not 100% sure though. So we'll have to see exactly how this one plays out for them. So far though, they have been putting up a very strong defense. And despite the fact that of course Maverick was being played, they just used that Bandit to of course waste a bit of time, waste a bit of wall denial, waste a bit of utility on the side of the Rent-Free team, allowing them of course to keep that wall as close as possible. But that time the roam game worked for them. The roam game did indeed work. They were able to pick up an early kill, and eventually they were able to rotate back to site. If only Rent-Free had realised how open site was earlier on, they would have been able to push in, get the refrag on whoever was playing in site, get that plant down, force the Romans to have to come back to site to try and do the retake. Unfortunately, they didn't have the drone or the intel work to maybe find this out, so unfortunately they weren't able to, of course, push in and make best use of that situation. Now, what on earth is going on here with Shramanek? Just aiming at position. What on earth are they on? What on earth are they doing? Pinging something on the roof, but at the moment just looking about. I'm really not quite sure what exactly they're doing. Maybe they've got a visual glitch or something that I can't see. Either way, I'm not too sure what is going on right now. They just seem to be staring at nothing. Hey ho. Anyway, already we do see the sides of Rent-Free jumping in, but far too early, as very easily Shamanek is able to pick up an early kill onto Temp as he just bolts through the K9 window. But already Privilege is at the top of the blue stairs, so does get the trade straight back. But of course the first member to fall was the Twitch. Maybe not the most crucial of members, but certainly could be useful in getting some of that utility off the wall. Bandit though, the Bandit of Lone Wolf playing around the office door, does take quite a bit of damage right here from the Ace who is playing out there on the balcony. Doesn't walk away unscathed from that one. Rent-Free now do have basically entire top floor control over on the fireplace side, on the southwest side, are now able to start deciding how exactly they want to be pushing on to site. You do see the Legion playing in piano,
Bomb located by attackers.
the Bandit playing behind half wall, but you also see, about to come into a fight right here, Washington peeks around the corner, does see the head of the Jaeger, that is Kunai playing at the bottom of those steps. Unfortunately though, he doesn't actually realise the fire. Privilege though, pushing on into sight, does collect himself a kill onto Champions, as he now falls back, as I believe he is, the C4 being ripped by the likes of Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf though accidentally throws the C4 in exactly the wrong place, and now decides to leave his C4 there, falling back to site while the wall is being opened by those Ace charges. A walk-through hole rather than a multiple hole. It will make this a lot easier for the side of Xenji team. So Rent-Free is now already pushing in to delete the game, does get Lone Wolf. Yokai though was able to get Privilege as he pushed through the piano door, and now 3v2. Delete the game is now going for the plant. There is a C4 in play, but it's too far back to try and get the planter. The call hasn't come out, and Yokai just walking across the room, doesn't see Zero coming in, collects the headshots, and to finish things off we see... Who was it who got that final kill? I couldn't remember whose name it was. Delete the game, I believe, on the Ash. Does collect the final kill of the game onto Kunai, who had eventually made it back up into sight, but unfortunately was doing there... Well, he was there too little, too late. So unfortunately, we do see the round fall the way of Rent-Free that time. A much better attack coming out from the side of Rent-Free. Much more coordinated one. They got the map control they needed early, decided on exactly how they were going to be pushing on into sight, started executing their plan, and of course, despite almost whiffing massively onto that Jaeger, of course, who was playing below at the bottom of the fireplace stairs, they were eventually, of course, able to push those roamers off. There wasn't too much pressure from below or behind, and able to get the K9 wall open and push on into sight, get that plant down on the half wall. No C4s still in play that were close enough to, of course, affect anything, so eventually they would win out that round after a strong attack started things off. Kunai now on the Valkyrie rather than the Jaeger. I believe he was on the Jaeger last time. Popping these Valk cams up in maybe unexpected places. Of course, there's not necessarily any specific Valk cam spots yet for this map, as it's still quite a new one, only being brought in the last season. But we will have to see whether these placements will be of much benefit to the Xenji team. Xenji team. I was about to say Xenji team, but their name is Xenji team. So Xenji team. Very confusing. Anyway, we do see now Rent-Free starting to push on in sight. The Hibana is on the interesting rappel out here. It always looks quite interesting before she rappels in. Going to take the library by the looks of it with the Nomad in tow to help, of course, cover off any rotates that could occur from the players of the Xenji team. But the Jaeger and the Valkyrie playing more aggressively this time at the top of the fireplace. Jaeger does take a little bit of damage from the K9 window as two players are out there on the balcony. Now pushes into the library. Is the call been made? I'm not quite sure. The Hibana is in, but doesn't realise that she's also in there with the Jaeger. Shramanek, for some reason, doesn't have a sight on his scope. The Hibana has actually been down by the C4 from below, but Privilege is able to take him out. A nice cheeky little flick there does take his head clean off. Temp is down on the floor though, and so is Privilege. That means that currently we're seeing a 4v3, but Temp has now been picked up safely, and the same has been said for Privilege. As we do now see though, who is it flanking up the main stairs? Is it Kunai? Quickly, there we go. Kunai is pushing up. He is able to take out the Ace. Yep, diffuser drop now as well. Yokai and Charlie as well. Washington being now the final remaining player as Yokai gets another one onto Temp. Washington now left in a 1v3. Can he make something happen right here? Shots though missing onto the Valkyrie of Kunai as he drops behind. Doesn't realise he's on the same floor as him. So unfortunately misses. Being on 20 health here, any bullet from any gun could probably put this man out of action right now. Just trying to find his way into this room. Maybe doesn't know the map quite as well, so trying to walk through some of these angles is quite difficult. But this defense certainly looking a lot better now for the Xenji team than it did on the last time when they tried to defend this site. Rent-Free looking slightly more disorganized on this one. The head of the mute just about being seen, but unfortunately it's a lot easier to see that when you've got the outline. And unfortunately for Washington, he doesn't quite see it as well as we do. So the remaining player of Yokai, well, not the remaining player of Yokai. Yokai is able to finish off the remaining player of Rent-Free, securing Xenji team their second defensive win. And now after 3 rounds have passed, they are able to go back downstairs to the wine cellar and snowmobile garage, or garage, however you want to pronounce it, for them to do a setup here. This time the mirror, though, being bought by Kunai. Seems that they will probably do the very standard mirror setup, watching, of course, from the single wall in the snowmobile garage onto the snowmobile garage breach. But of course, it's whether will we see the same push come out of Rent-Free, or will they maybe decide to go for a back push instead? Try and take the other garage and push through from there to the back of Wine Cellar and try and get those walls open from there. Depending, of course, whether they decide to do that, or of course a front snowmobile garage push will depend, of course, whether that mirror will come in useful or not. And it will be interesting to see where the second mirror window gets placed exactly to hold which of these angles. Will it just be placed on this double wall here to allow a bit of sight down all the way over to the garage on this side? Or will it be placed somewhere else to help support the team? Will the second one be placed on these 2 walls? Who knows? Let's just wait and see where Xenji team decide to put this one exactly. Once again, the Bandit being bought by Lone Wolf, as well as the Mute by Yokai. By the looks of it, though, Lone Wolf might not be bandit tricking, but there is only one ADS, and this one is set much farther back than the drone hole this time. So, bandit tricking in that position could be a death sentence. A very easy waste of, well, with there being no ADS, a very easily nade could just be rolled through and easily blow up the man trying to bandit trick it. So right now, they're not doing it. Instead, they're playing for the wall to be opened, as unfortunately Delete the Game picks up an early frag onto Charlie, playing aggressively over in the car garage. Unfortunately, he's taken out though with some good drone work coming out from his team. A cheeky headshot to open things up. Does mean that Charlie has now fallen. Bit of communication here, deciding that there was a Mozzie drone still in there with them, and as I suspected, the second mirror window has been placed on this wine cellar wall. Currently being played at the moment by the Jaeger Shramanak. Just currently watching to see which players will be pushing him from this position, as 3 are now pushing from car garage. The Nomad being placed out does get a trade onto 0, but he doesn't realise that Delete the Game is also watching that angle, so an instant trade coming back. Lone Wolf, though, on the roam is able to pick up one on the west main stairs. Privilege falls. Privilege, of course, showing up big for his team so far. 4 kills to his name. Quite a crucial pick so far, and certainly a name that I've been saying quite a lot in this one, but now with that kill we do see it going back into a very even 3 versus 3. The Thermite was able to get the wall open with that Ash charge being used to, of course, blow up those bandit charges, as now Yokai is being contested by the Thermite on the blue stairs. Temp is able to win that one out on the Thermite, having the better scope for it. But now the mirror is holding the angle. Oh, unfortunate pre-fire, just missing the head of Kunai, who was holding the exact angle that was pre-fired, but unfortunately Temp was not able to land the shots. So now all up to Washington and Delete the Game. Delete the Game, of course, pushing from the basement hallway side on the wine cellar, trying to get this wall open. There is a mute jammer on it though, so it's going to be quite difficult for him to do so. Lone Wolf still off-site, playing at the top of the west main stairs, and Kunai still playing on his mirror windows out at the bottom, just waiting for a member to come in. He does see Delete the Game now pushing in and downs him. That's dropped diffuser in sight, and now a 1v2 situation. Washington is all on his own, just at the moment droning out the trophy position, but he's missed-drone Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf is playing aggressively, just tight to the kitchen doorway from trophy. Washington is now in, he's now pushing past. Maybe doesn't realise that Lone Wolf is here. Yes, indeed he doesn't. Lone Wolf collects a final kill, playing it super slow and sneaky there, able to pick up another kill, securing himself a double on the round and securing his team the 3rd defensive victory of this one. 3 rounds now going in favour of the Xenji team on the defence, compared to 1 going the way of Rent-Free on the offence. 2 more rounds left in this one before we do swap onto the second half and we do see these two teams swap their roles. Will this map be the complete opposite of Oregon for both of these teams, where we see the defenders getting the advantage over the attackers? Of course, in the last game, we did see that both teams were quite unable to defend Oregon. Only 2 rounds going in favour of Rent Free when they were on their defence, and only 1 round going in favour of Xenji team when they were on their defence. Already, though, they have improved on that threefold of the side of Xenji team, as they have got 3 rounds under their belt. Meanwhile, though, Rent Free, so dominant on their attack in Oregon, don't seem to be able to find the ground that they need on this attack. And of course, starts opening this game up. Instead of going for the top floor and master bedroom, though, actually I believe it is still locked out for them, so they can't go for it. The side of Xenji team are now going instead for the dining and kitchen sites on the middle floor. Hi Madigan, how you doing, buddy? The first map went in favour of Rent Free. They won it 7 rounds to 5. And this is the second map to answer both of your questions. Thank you for tuning in today. Nobody has put anything on the predictions. Nobody wants to be wasting those channel points today. Hey ho. I won't cry about it. Honest. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see exactly how Rent Free start deciding how to push onto this one. Certainly a top floor control would be a good position to start and then push down from there, but there is a member of Xenji team playing on the top floor. 2 in fact, but 1 directly above site. 2 now with the Jaeger of Stramenek playing on the Solarium stairs. Stramenek waiting to see if he can see the Ash. Unfortunately, the Ash didn't poke her head out, so he isn't able to pick up that early pick onto her. The pings, though, coming out that she still is on that window, as maybe a default cam has been left up somewhere. Yokai down inside, though, delete the game. Once again, though, getting an early pick onto the Roma of Kunai, who's playing the Legion in this round. A good start for the team of Rent Free once again, but it started out this way for them last time, and unfortunately didn't end the same way that it started, as they were unfortunately unable to clutch it out when push came to shove. Stramenek still playing around on the trophy stairs at the moment, sorry, Solarium stairs. Also accompanied by the likes of Charlie, who is just sat in the closet in the master bedroom, waiting for something to happen, waiting for his time to push out, as you do see Zofia on the near the double window repel. Lone Wolf, though, managed to pick himself up a kill onto Washington, who was trying to push on to the kitchen single door. But we do now see the side of Rent Free starting to take some top floor control into Piano, as Temp does just about see Stramenek and is able to pick him off quite easily with a cheeky headshot. Privilege, though, getting into a bit of a gunfight with the Mozzie as well. Realising he's now in closet, has maybe called out to the likes of Temp to come join him. Pre-fire's coming out into the closet, not quite able to land onto the Mozzie, but a cheeky little pre-fire there from Temp does manage to pick up Charlie, who was prone on the floor at the time. Now in a 4v2 situation, can the 2 remaining members of Xenji team be able to push out this round? Lone Wolf still playing on the B side, just trying to waste as much time as possible, but Yokai playing aggressively at the bottom of the trophy stairs is able to initially pick up Temp, but Zero is able to push in and collect Lone Wolf. Now in sight, Pre-fire's coming out from Yokai, unable to land, though does down Zero. Does he realise it? Of course he doesn't, because points are off. Shot, so landing onto Privilege, it's now just a 1v1. Yokai versus Delete the Game. Pre-fire coming out onto him through the soft wall. Does land. Now, he does see the ace inside. Pre-fires through the wall. Does he get it? Oh my goodness, does he quite realise where Delete the Game is? Delete the Game now getting round on the flank. Does he see where the meter's gone? The meter's just hiding right behind the bomb. The C4 coming out does do a bit of damage onto Yokai. Yokai still spraying around. There's still a good fight going on. Oh, but eventually Yokai able to win this one out. A shotgun shell to the face secures Xenji team a much needed defensive round win. This now sees them go 4 rounds to 1 in this first half. Well, before they finish their first half, hopefully they can finish one the best way they can, 5 rounds to 1, but Rent Free certainly looked a lot stronger on their last attack, and hopefully if they're able to complete that execution right down to the very end, they will be able to, of course, hopefully get a couple more rounds on the board before they then swap onto the defense. If their defense goes as well for Rent Free as it's been going so far for Xenji team, then this game may be just as close as the first one was. But right now, as we do see the side of the Xenji team going back to the master bedroom office on the top floor, they're certainly looking in the driving seat right now. And to answer your question, Radon, I'm really not quite sure how they managed to lose that one. That was so Rent Free's round to win. That was so... Yep, it was just their round to win. And they whiffed it. It was very fortunate for Yokai to, of course, have got that down onto 0. The second kill onto, I believe it was it Privilege? Pushing as the Zofia. Was a very good shot and a very much needed kill, but Delete the Game possibly needs to do exactly what his username says right now after that absolute whiff, unfortunately, onto the mute. He was in a high pressure situation, so can't blame him too much. But it's situations like that that you just really need to win, and of course after the pounding that Rent-Free have been receiving so far, of course seeing the rounds going 4-1 in favour of Xenji team, they definitely need to be performing a lot better over this one. 2 mirror windows currently being used by Kunai on this K9 wall. One looking onto a single soft wall at the top of blue to try and hold this corridor, and the other one just facing on the main wall towards fireplace. Of course that one can't really be used aggressively, but of course with the floor being soft beneath her, a well-placed ash charge from below or cook grenade could either kill the mirror or certainly push her off of that position. Delete the Game though has already taken up a very aggressive position. A little bit of crouch spam it seems on the office balcony door. Does make a lot of noise though, is able to pick up the first kill onto Yokai. Not realising that of course someone had been so aggressive onto that doorway and no one was watching it. And of course he could be picked off from that angle while playing in the piano room. The mirror is now obviously pinging out. There are 2 members of the Rent-Free team pushing on that balcony. One also the IQ of Privilege currently playing on the double window repair. Watching the long cross all the way into the piano room. Might be able to collect the head of a player who rotates across. Shots coming out, unfortunately not able to land any. I believe it was Charlie. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was Charlie, but Delete the Game deletes Charlie as Temp also collects himself another one. It's now a 5v2. Lone Wolf though, the timing though perfectly coming up the fireplace stairs is able to collect one, but Zero pushing into the library is able to collect another one for his team. Exactly what they needed. Now Kunai's left in this 1v4 situation. He does stand up, gets down onto Washington, but unfortunately there's far too many members, and a pre-fire through the wall from Zero is able to finish him off. That's exactly the way that Rent-Free wanted to finish their attacking half, going for rounds 2 and just getting one more attacking round under their belt before we see them swapping sides as we head into the second half and moving instead onto the defense. Starting site of their choice so far will be the wine cellar and snowmobile garage. Can they hold it as well as better than they assaulted it? Because certainly when they were attacking it, they weren't that coordinated. The site was they've been completely left open for a period of time by the Xenji team. But Rent-Free just didn't have the drone knowledge to, of course, realise that and be able to know that we can push in, we can take this, we can just go in, get an aggressive plan, maybe go for a refrag on the one player that is in sight, and then mean that the rest of the Xenji team has to do a retake. Bit of a misplay from them there on the first round, but as I say, hopefully their defence may prove better than their attack, and they may be able to come out of this one just the same as they did in the previous game. Will this one also go to a 7-5? Will we see Rent-Free just become completely dominant on the defense in complete opposite to the way around that it was on Oregon? Of course, we saw that the attacking side was the favoured one for those teams, for both these teams on Oregon, but now on Chalet it certainly seems that the defense is the better side, or at least it looks like on the side of the Xenji team. Whether Rent-Free can, of course, repeat this performance on their defense remains to be seen. One roamer, though, currently at the moment, I believe it is the Vigil of Privilege. Yes, indeed, just currently opening up a little peek hole from below for him to use later on. Suppress on the C75 looks naughty. The rest of the Rent-Free team, though, currently just playing on inside, as we do see the main push coming out from the side of Xenji team, just being onto the main snowmobile garage wall. A couple of Hibana pellets. Oh dear, oh dearie me, oh dearie me. A very big misplay there from the Xenji team. The Hibana, firstly, the Ace charge destroyed the Hibana pellets on the left hand side, and secondly, the Hibana pellets on the right hand side then destroyed the second part of the Ace charge, meaning that they've wasted far more utility than they needed to just getting this wall open. But now it's quite a difficult position to push in through, and it seems that most of them have actually given up the push onto the snowmobile garage. They've just opened it, left it for later, and it seems that Rent-Free have now realised this, as most of them are rotating off to different positions. Lucy is now playing on the main fireplace stairs. Privilege is able to pick up an early opening kill onto Kunai. Just pushing into the main double fireplace doorway. Unfortunately falling to the roaming Vigil. Now that they've lost one player though, that of Kunai, currently playing the Zofia, it does seem that the side of Xenji team is opting to now push onto the wall that they have open. One member though, Shramanak, I've been calling him Stramanak for ages, but it's Shramanak, is now pushing solo at the moment, not using that ability to of course be very sneaky. Doesn't realise that there's two players on the side of Xenji, from Rent-Free, sorry, playing on the blue stairs right here. The Malusi of Zero, though, has been downed on the main stairs by the sledge from the angle. Privilege has also now fallen to Yokai. Where was Yokai? Yokai has pushed into the game zone, now being aggressively pushed by the Jaeger of Temp, is able to claim that kill, delete the game, gets himself one, but also ends up TKing Zero in the process. Not quite sure how that worked, delete the game. Somehow it did. I'm still not quite sure how, and now Lone Wolf and Charlie find themselves in a 2v3 situation. Delete the game is basically not even alive at this point though, with only 10 hit points remaining, but the two other remaining members of Rent-Free, that of Washington and Temp, are very much healthy. Temp though playing aggressively by the bomb is spotted out. Unfortunately shots not quite landing from Lone Wolf, meaning he does get away without taking any damage. Charlie though is now pushing down the main stairs and has been able to pick up Temp quite easily. Sees the Legion in the blue corridor and takes him out as well. A triple coming out from Charlie, pushing down the main fireplace stairs. Claims round number 7 for the Xenji team, putting them 5-2 up after their first attacking round. Goes as well as their defensive rounds have been going. Looked a little bit closer for a few moments, as of course they were left in the 2v3 situation. Quite a difficult one to come back from, but fortunately for them, the two remaining members, Charlie especially, was able to show a big push on into sight and get the kills that he needed to claim them the round victory and put them one round closer to claiming the win on this second map. Wine Cellar and Snowmobile Garage being the choice of site once again for the Rent-Free team. Are they able to hold this one out, or will they end up struggling as much as they did previously? Although, as I said, they didn't actually struggle all that much. It was just the side of the Xenji team, eventually at the end there, being left in undesirable odds, but still able to win it out. Lining up just one after another, every member of Rent-Free just walked in front of the very, very dangerous gun of Charlie. As we've seen from the previous game as well, dropping 11 kills, I believe, total across that game. That man is dangerous. You do not want to be in front of his barrel. Maybe not getting the most kills so far in this game. Those instead seem to be going to Yokai, who has got 10 to his name so far. But Charlie, of course, has shown up big right there, getting a triple in round number 7, helping put Xenji team ahead 5 rounds to 2. To answer your question, by the way, SBRX, the first game we saw going 7-5 to Rent-Free, but the second one is very much looking in control on the side of Xenji team. Sorry, I just forgot their name all of a sudden. Oh, excuse me. A bit of a yawn for a second. Currently, we do see Privilege on the roam once again, playing this vertical angle right here that he likes to do in the master bedroom. That angle seems to, of course, be going down on into the west main entrance. Exactly how he's playing this. Delete the game, though, does hear his Legion Mine being shot out by Shramanak? The Ash playing at the bottom of the backyard stairs. They're just waiting for either one of them to make a play right here. Make a move. Who will win it out? It seems that Delete the Game has given up on holding that angle. Maybe if, of course, he had been holding it, he would have been able to pick up Shramanak right there as he went across. Oh, the timing from both of these players. The call comes out, the pre-fire comes out, but unfortunately it misses. Tempso behind him does take a little bit of damage from the angle being held by Shramanak. No worries, SPRX. Although now we do see Kunai has pushed aggressively into blue. What on earth happened there? Zero was able to claim Kunai, but Temps just kills Zero for some reason. Obviously not realising that his teammate was there and able to claim the kill, get the refrag without his help. Charlie's able to pick up another one, killing Washington in the process. And now a 3v2 situation we find ourselves in, with Temp being on incredibly low health from his engagement with the Zofia earlier on.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Also, with this main wall open right now, the side of the Xenji team are able to just start pushing in through, and with the smoke being placed to, of course, cover the entrance, they will start pushing through. But Privilege, a good timed swing there, is able to pick up Charlie as he jumps through the rotate, but Shramanek is able to push in as well, starting the kills. Privilege, though, able to down, double, and kill Lone Wolf. Currently now sat on a double kill and now in a 1v1 situation. It will now be the Ash of Shramanek versus the Vigil of Privilege. Shramanek going for the defuse right now. Privilege is too far away to contest this. The diffuser will be placed down. And now Privilege has to do the retake. He does see Shramanek running outside. Unfortunately not quite able to land the shots exactly where he needs to. Does a bit of damage, but unfortunately not enough to take the life off of this Ash. The shots coming out, and eventually Shramanek is able to clutch this one. The 1v1 coming up big for Xenji team as they now put themselves on match point in this second game. Only one round needed now for them to take this second map win and put themselves on a draw for this best of two between these two teams, giving each team, I believe, equal points haul of 1 point. Do correct me if I'm wrong though, because I'm not quite sure how the points are being done in this league. But if it's similar to the other ones that I'm involved in, then each team should walk away with 1 point, if of course this does end up in a draw. However, it's not over until the fat lady sings. Gridlock isn't being played in this match, but hey ho, she's around. She's always around. She is very round. But enough fat jokes aside, Rent-Free do have a difficult task right now, but not an impossible one. That's the key thing to point out right here. There is still a chance for them to clutch this one out. Yes, they have to get 4 rounds in a row to just see them into that overtime position. But it's possible. They've certainly had 5 rounds in a row previously on Oregon when they won the attack. Now they're on the defense. Maybe they're not as comfortable on the defense as they are on the attack. But they certainly didn't seem very comfortable on the attack on this map either. But Xenji certainly seemed much more comfortable on their defense on this map. Able to walk away with the 4-2 in the first half. And now getting 2 attacking rounds on the trot, allowing them to be in the very positive position of match point and 6 rounds to 2 in favour of them. A quick glance at the scoreboard shows us that Yokai has been popping off for his team, of course, able to get that 1v3 clutch at 1 point as well versus Rent-Free. A very well played round from him there. 7 kills going to Kunai, who's also been going big for his team. Maybe not as much as he was in the previous game, but certainly doing what he's needed. Shramanek and Charlie and Lone Wolf, although sat on 5 kills at the moment, all doing their part to help their team onto the 6 rounds that they've got so far. Rent-Free, though, a similar situation. Quite a lot of kills going their way as Temp picks himself up another one as I'm looking at the scoreboard right now. Washington, though, maybe, of course, underperforming a little bit at the moment, unfortunately for his team. Does mean that they maybe see themselves in this difficult position, but there's been a lot of sort of one-on-one situations coming down at the end of this one, unfortunately for the players of both Xenji and Rent-Free. As I said, at Xenji, Kunai is able to pick up 0, but Delete the Game instantly gets that refrag right back for his team. And Delete the Game has now been downed as well. Not sure who by. Was that by Charlie or was that by Shramanek? Possibly by Shramanek, I'm not quite sure. Whatever is going on here. Oh my goodness, a very cheeky angle there being held by Washington all the way from the top of the fireplace stairs. Does claim the head of Shramanek, who was playing aggressively on the K9 balcony. The 2 roamers are now having to come back to side as Lone Wolf is able to pick up Temps. It's now a 2v2 situation with Delete the Game still being down and out for the count on the floor. He has now been picked up though. 20 hit points still left does mean it's now a 3v2 situation. That instantly made into a 2v2 situation as Lone Wolf collects the head very easily of Washington. Sees him outlined very nicely against the white backdrop of the bathtub. Hey, Jasmos, is that how you pronounce it? How you doing, buddy? Cheers for tuning into the stream today. As we now see a very critical round coming out here for Xenji team and Rent-Free. Rent-Free, of course, have to get 4 rounds on the board to see themselves to overtime and keep themselves in with a chance of winning this best of 2. However, though, the side of Xenji team just have to secure this 1 round to secure themselves a victory on this one. Charlie has pushed on inside and is starting to get this plant down. C4 being ripped though by Delete the Game. It doesn't manage to get. Lone Wolf gets himself a triple, collecting the head of Privilege, but Delete the Game now pushing through. The plant coming off for a second there from Charlie as he hears the Bandit playing close. If only the Bandit knew exactly where it was. A pre-fire coming out. Although Prefire does come out, it's from Lone Wolf, and he does delete the game, securing map number 2 for Xenji team. 7 rounds to 2. A much more dominant performance from the side of Xenji on this second map. Unfortunately, they weren't quite able to see themselves through into the overtime or secure themselves the victory on the first map of Oregon, as that went 7-5 to Rent Free. But we do now see them showing up big on Chalet, which I do believe was their map choice. Certainly a very good map choice for them, as they were able to win this one out. There was a few close rounds, but some good clutches coming out from the likes of Yokai, from Kunai, Shramanak, Charlie. Literally every single member of the Xenji team showed up big on that map. They did what they needed to every time they were asked to, and that resulted in, of course, in them getting through right to the end, securing the second map 7 rounds to 2, winning out this best of 2 for the team. Now that's all we have for you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for everybody tuning in so far. Unfortunately for Madigan, who voted on Rent Free to win, unfortunately, you lose those points, my dude, and because no one else voted, nobody unfortunately gets to claim on those channel points. Anyway, though, that is everything from me today. Thank you very much for joining me in today's game for the Colossus League, where we saw Xenji team take on Rent Free. First map of Oregon was very attacker-sided, as both teams were very strong on the attack and very weak on the defense. Fortunately for Rent Free, though, they were eventually able to win that game out, having got an extra win on their defense in the first half, meaning when they were just completely dominant on their attacking half, they were able to win out the game 7 rounds to 5. The second map, though, of Chalet, a new one to the rotation, was a completely different story, though, as we did see the side of Xenji team getting the advantage, playing a lot better on their defense than the side of Rent Free. Rent Free, despite being good attacking on Oregon, just couldn't break through the Xenji's defense, allowing them to get 4-2 up in the first half. From there, though, despite strong performances coming out from Rent Free on their own defense, Xenji team were able to push through, get some very good clutches, each member playing their part when they needed to, and eventually, of course, were able to win out that map as well, taking that one 7 rounds to 2 in favour of Xenji team, securing each team 1 game out of this best of 2, meaning that the entire series finishes on a draw for this one. Geo YOLO. GG, nice games. Indeed they were. Anyway, as I said, that is everything from me this evening. I hope you all have a lovely evening and have all had a good start to your week. I will be hopefully streaming some further games later this week. I have a couple of casts coming up. On top of that, though, there are going to be I'm going to do a shameless plug momentarily for the European Rainbow Six League. We have just entered our playoff stages, and I believe we have a game tomorrow that I may be casting that will decide the final playoff spot. But after that, later on in the week, I believe on Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday as well, we will have our quarter-finals for the European Rainbow Six League. I'm in one of those teams that have made it to playoffs, Paradox Gaming. We should be playing on either the Thursday or the Saturday. We're currently deciding which day we're going to do. But be sure to stick around both my channel and a couple of others that I will normally host through my channel that, of course, we will be playing the games through. So do feel free to come and check those out, and of course do feel free to drop a follow if you haven't already. It greatly helps me out, and of course alerts you to when I'm going live so you don't miss any of the games in future. But for now, I'm going to stop shamelessly plugging myself, and instead I'm going to dip and go get myself some dinner. So once again, thank you all for tuning in this evening. I hope you've had a good time and enjoyed the games and my casting. But for now, I will love you and leave you all. Ciao for now, everybody.